Hello and welcome to Andy's Amateur Adventures. This is part 2 of my DIY audio system upgrade for my 2023 Ford Maverick. And in this one I'll be updating the tweakers within my truck. So as with my door speaker install, which is part 1, I recommend getting the tweakers ready before you take out the existing factory tweakers from your truck. And you can see I am unboxing the new tweakers. Right now, I got these from Crutchfield, and at the time I bought them, there was no mounting or installation kit from Crutchfield. Right now, there is a mounting kit for them. The tweakers come with a lot of additional hardware. You actually only need the tweakers themselves from inside the box. You don't need any of the additional hardware that is within the box. Also, I got a wiring harness, which I'll put the link to where I got it in the video description. That way I didn't have to cut and splice any of the wires for my truck. I did a better job of the preparatory phase when I did my second one, so we'll switch over to that video now. So these new tweeters come with standard speaker connectors on the end of their wires for positive and negative. Unfortunately, Ford does not use that on their vehicles. They use proprietary wire harness connectors. So I have to cut off the standard speaker connectors and then strip the wires back and splice the harness adapters onto the wires for the tweeters. There are many different ways you can connect the wires from the tweeter to the harness adapter together. I elected to just wrap the wires together and then wrap the external and electrical tape. That is the cheapest and fastest way to do it, though a lot of people don't like it. It is very small and it's easy to manage your wires that way. The gold standard is to actually solder them and then to heat shrink around the solder. You can also get some attaching implements. Those are usually take a little bit more space, and where you need to stuff these wires, there's not a whole lot of extra space. So I recommend either doing what I did or to use the solder method. That way you don't waste the little bit of space that you have where you need to stuff the wire. Now on these tweeters, there is some extra plastic trimming around the speakers themselves that you need to remove. They just unscrew and then they come apart, and that makes the tweeter smaller. You will not be able to fit the tweeter into the mounting spot that is there on the Ford Maverick if you leave this plastic trim in place. It does take a little bit of force to unscrew these from the factory, but once you unscrew it, it comes off pretty easy. And you see that I have it taken off right there. And that's all you need to do to prepare the tweeter for installation in the Maverick. Now moving up to the driver's compartment of the Maverick, it's time to remove the installed tweeter. Now to do this, you remove the A-pillar trim and you just put a trim piece in, pull it out towards yourself if you're standing in the door, and then you pull up and that trim piece will detach. And you don't need to fully remove it, though you can. Sometimes it's easier. And then you remove the trim piece that is over the tweeter speaker itself. And it takes a little bit of finagling, but you'll eventually get that trim piece off. It just pulls up towards the windshield. Now that both the trim pieces are out of the way, it is time to remove the tweeter. Removing the tweeter is a fairly easy process. There are no nuts or bolts or screws holding it in. You press down on 3 little tabs that hold the factory tweeter in, push them back away from the tweeter, and then you'll be able to pull the factory tweeter out. And the wire will come with it. The wire from your truck plugs directly in the back of the tweeter. You just press down on a little button and it pops out, and you remove the factory tweeter. Time to install your aftermarket. Now to finish the installation, you connect Ford's wiring harness to the wiring harness adapter that we connected to the tweeter already. and you manage your cables by pushing them back up into the small reservoir for the extra wiring, and then you just push the tweeter down into the factory installation bracket there. And this tweeter is slightly larger, but it does fit with a little bit of finagling. It should be noted that the Ford factory tweeters are 8 ohm impedance versus these tweeters, which are 4 ohm impedance. Crutchfield now sells an adapter for that converts the factory signal to 4 ohm, which you would just install it in line between the tweeter and that adapter, that harness adapter. So that is an option for you. I just went into the settings of the radio and turned down the volume of the tweeters themselves, and that's worked fine for me. Now once I finished installing the tweeter, you go ahead and you set your trim pieces back where they are. Again, this tweeter is a little bit wider than the factory tweeter that we took out, so it did take a little bit of pressure to put the trim pieces back on. And when I was done, the indented trim piece that covered the factory tweeter was sticking up about a 1/16 of an inch higher than what it was when it was brand new from the factory, when it sat flush. So there is that little bit of difference, but overall no problems, no issues from having that 1/16 of an inch of it being unflush. And it sounds a ton better than the factory tweeters. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. I hope you have a great day.